All right. So, like Leah said, I am not new to the digital inclusion scene, and I thought we were members. So, this is a little, I guess, note to everybody to take a look see on the KC Digital Inclusion Coalition website. One of the recent meetings, we reviewed the website, and I thought, well, I better check and see if I'm on there. So, gave me the opportunity to share about Phoenix Family. So feel free to take a look and see if you're on there. And if not, please feel free to submit your information. So Phoenix Family. So what we do is we contract with owners of affordable housing communities to provide social services right where people live. So there are 37 different affordable housing communities that we have services where we have a dedicated, at least one dedicated social or services coordinator right there on site, where they have an office there within the apartment community. So we do this for a couple of reasons. Our approach removes barriers like transportation. Um, we're right there where people live, and it allows for relationship building, which is really a foundation for success because we know change can really long lasting change can take place within helpful relationships. So, and we are most of the sites we serve are in the KC metro area. Um, Most of them are in Missouri. We have a few on the Kansas side. We do have a few in St. Louis. We're in Columbia, Missouri. We're in some rural areas as well. And then we have three in Iowa. And then these are pictures of some of our residents. So we really serve everybody um, who lives in affordable housing. A little bit about our programs. So we have three programs here: Families First, Senior Empowerment, and Hike. So I can talk a little bit about our approaches here. Really across all of our sites for Families First and Senior Empowerment, we focus on basic needs. So we have on-site pantries, and that could have, of course, food. We work to have not, we work to have perishable food as well. We have freezers and fridges. We have diapers, hygiene products, incontinence products, whatever that specific community needs. We try to tailor our pantry offerings to that. We also partner a lot with the property managers. So if somebody has a lease violation, we really try to work with them and intervene. So we'll help find emergency assistance resources, or from time to time, we do have emergency assistance funding. Um, we might intervene where there's some housekeeping needs and folks need some cleaning supplies or need to know a little bit more about the expectations the property managers have for upkeeping the apartment. So we really try to prevent those lease violations from turning into evictions. We also intervene in a wide variety of crises, whatever that could look like, health related, interpersonal violence related, whatever that looks like. And so, Families First, what we also do is we help people gain upward economic mobility through an evidence based life coach program. So, once we help them gain a little bit of stability, we help them. Really, our goal is to help them exit poverty. Senior empowerment, another addition to that, on top of the basic needs, is helping folks age in place. So if somebody has an age-related change, and most people do not want to go to a higher care facility, nobody, I don't want to do that either. So really trying to help find those community resources that could come in to help fulfill that need. So if somebody needs help remembering to take their medication, we'll look to see if we can get some pill management, medication management for them. as one example. And then HIKE stands for Help Instill the Key to Education. The reason why it says HIKE is because Trent Green helped found it. So although he'll tell you it's hut, not hike, but we couldn't find a fun little phrase for hut. So we went with hike. But it's our out of school after school summer program for our kids. All of these programs are, of course, free for our residents. So the kiddos get off the bus, they come to our program areas, they get a meal. We have experiential learning and thematic programs to keep them engaged. And then most of our kids read 6 months to 2 years below reading level. And so we have a focus on literacy. And so we have on-site reading specialists that build lesson plans, individualized lesson plans for the kiddos. And then we have volunteer reading coaches to work on those lesson plans twice a week for 45 minutes each with each of the struggling readers. And then we also work on a lot of wraparound support for parents and navigating school systems and communications as well. Let's see, did I leave anything out? And then, of course, we track outcomes related to housing stability, economic mobility, income changes, aging in place. We look at avoiding higher levels of care, and isolation prevention, helping folks build connections within their community. We have some measurements around that. And then HIKE is fluency assessments, grade level rating. We track social emotional skills and learning as well. Let's see, this gives you a little bit more information. So we have about 50 staff, and there's about 5,000 people that have access to our services every day. So most of the sites are what's called multifamily communities, where you kind of think about it as maybe a traditional apartment community where there's buildings spread throughout, and then there's a leasing office. And usually that's where we have our office space and program space. And then we have what's called what HUD defines as senior disabled communities. And those are for people 62 and older, or some of them are 55 and older or younger with a disability. So, and those usually typically look like one building, and then the apartments are accessible from the inside. And so our offices are on the inside of the building as well. And we typically have some sort of program space to gather in groups and do social isolation prevention and programming, educational programming. So you can also see here the average annual incomes for folks, which showcases the need for us to be there, and really all the needs I'm sure you can imagine around digital inclusion. So this is a really busy slide. But if you think about all the different ways that we access technology, and I know I'm speaking to the experts in the room here. Yeah, if you imagine all the different ways we use technology in any given day, here's all of the needs. And so I had mentioned that there's 50 people on staff. We have to use partnerships, and we are so thankful for our partnerships that enable us to be able to help with these things. Are any of the items listed here stick out to you, or make something you're curious about, or maybe some needs that you see are greater than others?
Jessica, I wonder if you could talk about genealogy. Like what are you hearing from your residents around that? I think that's a really interesting topic that maybe we think about all the sort of the brass tacks uses, but it's really important to a lot of people to understand where they came from.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it could be, somebody has a general interest, but a lot of times what we see is somebody doesn't really have a lot of family and they just want to figure out a little bit more connection, or they have no idea of, some of us have, origin stories for families, like where did we come from? Where did our great grandparents live? And some folks just don't have that at all. And so they would like to learn a little bit more information. So we've had partners come out before that kind of give um, a high level view of if you want to get started, and where are some free resources where you can start looking up information. And some folks have really taken it and ran with it and gotten really involved. And some folks have found a little bit of information and that's enough for them. So it's really kind of a run of the gamut, what people's interests are, but a lot of it is helping them feel connected. Good question.
Jessica, this is a great list. It's a fabulous list. It's the most essential things people need help with all the time. I'm Mary Kay at Literacy KC.
Yeah,
And so I'm just kind of curious, is this basically boiled down to a one-on-one help the individual person at the time they need this specific thing? How do you get that to all match up? Because we've had
yeah.
classes on some of these things, but we don't always have people show up for the classes, but we don't
Uh-huh.
need that right then.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. And it's perplexing. What we found is helpful in an approach where we've been lucky enough to partner with KC Digital Drive on their digital ambassador program that just is piloting again. And so our approach is really for the digital ambassador, yes, to do that one-on-one help, like you said. Our approach, it fosters us to be able to get to know individuals over time and what their needs are. So we kind of do an assessment. So if we have people repeatedly coming down, and I say down, I'm imagining one of our senior sites in our computer lab area, and they're coming down from their apartments. um, and they're asking for help for the, multiple needs, the same needs over and over, then we can build a program around that. If somebody's coming down and they're like, my doctor's healthcare portal, I don't know, I don't know when I have an appointment. They tell me when my appointment is and they tell me to check the portal and I lost my little piece of paper. I don't know where to find it. Then we can have both one-on-one help and some overall tips, maybe a little presentation about that, bring some food in to help people come. So we're pretty lucky in our approach that helps build those relationships through one-on-one help. And then it's a program assessment tool. Then we can build a topic for a class. Great question.
And do you have labs in all 37 of your housing developments?
That is a goal. We don't have them in every single community. And some, our communities range from 30 units to 300. So some of the labs may look like we have a laptop in this locked area and we'll get it out when somebody needs it. Yeah.
That works.
But our goal is to have something updated that people can use. Absolutely.
Terrific. And we have, I see you have transportation. We'd welcome any of your clients anytime at any of our KC classes if you'd like to work something out together.
Yeah, absolutely. We should talk more, Mary Kay, for sure.
Thanks, Jessica.
Yeah, thank you. And our transportation, I do want to clarify that. So that's more of a need of, I put the kind of the purpose behind here is I put it on here is trying to figure out like Uber, Iris, the bus lines. We do that digitally. So that's kind of a need there. But yeah, our transportation, of course, like everybody else, is limited, but always happy to partner, figure things out.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Jessica, how do you think that the digital skills, resources you're providing contribute to economic mobility for your residents. Obviously, your seniors are retired, and but for your other residents, how do you see that fitting together?
Absolutely. We definitely do. Under workforce development, training programs. Gosh, where do I begin? Trying to enroll in training programs, figuring out where they are, all takes a knowledge of figuring things out online. And not only that, there's the high school online program through the library. We've had some folks enroll in, and they need a computer for that. We've had folks who gain employment for work from home, which is great because a lot of the good paying jobs are not where our folks live. So they're often looking for work from home opportunities. And many times that employer doesn't have a computer to offer them. And so that access for affordable internet, affordable devices is important. And then those middle literacy skills. So if somebody is working, and I think I'm borrowing this example from you, Leslie, but if somebody is working at the DMV, what systems do they need to learn? There's probably a scheduling system. So skills beyond probably social media, what most folks are used to using in a workplace. Is it Outlook? What systems are they using? There's probably a cloud-based system that they have to navigate as well. So getting used to and knowing enough about what that looks like so that they can apply it to a work setting and they don't have such a learning curve that really kind of gets them behind when they do start a job that is a little better paying. And then, of course, resumes and applications. You can't apply without being online. And if you know how to copy and paste pieces, because most applications now you have to submit a resume and then copy and paste everything you put on your resume into the online application, these repetitive processes. And, people get frustrated and they stop, or if they have a little bit more skills and feel comfortable with those expectations and know to prepare for them, then they'll be more likely to get through that process. Yeah, all of the things.
So last question, I promise. How are you filling these needs? Like, you're not, I don't think, you all are not providing all of these resources, right? Oh, look at that. I went you right into the next slide.
Yes, you did. Thank you for helping me move along. Partnerships. Like I said, 50 staff, 5,000 people, a wide variety of needs, unique needs every day. We could not do it without our partnerships. Device access, like I mentioned, that is huge. Of course, we have computer labs, but, I think we've all been up late working on something or early working on something, and just having that access in your home helps you be so much more efficient. If you have an infant, you need to be able to do that at home, not drag your infant, somewhere to then try to work on the computer. So having that access is so valuable. And so we listed some of our partners that have helped us provide access. And then connectivity, of course, variety of different ways. I know we all mourn the loss of the Affordable Connectivity Program, for sure, left a gaping hole here. Education and training, that can look very different in a variety of ways. So we have some of our youth programming listed here as well. Scholar Smarts, Urban Tech, MoCan, Goodwill, MCC, lots of folks. KC Public Library and KC Digital Drive is listed in all three of these areas. So we seriously, one of our the biggest strategies is how do we provide services to people where they live, and we need partnerships to be able to do that. No doubt, we can't do the work on our own. So the last thing I'll talk a little bit about is collective impact. Phoenix Family recently, with the support of the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation, was able to build a coalition, and it's called the Coalition for Equity and Opportunity. So the CEO, because we believe everybody has needs the opportunity to be the CEO of their own lives. And so a little bit about collective impact. This probably isn't a new term for most of you, but to give you a little bit more, I guess, background into why there was a need for us to build a coalition. A few years ago, we wanted to do more than what we were doing to help people be successful, help our families be successful. And so we started the Life Coach program, and we started using an evidence-based program that helped people with goal setting along, a bridge to economic mobility to really improve their economic situations. And like we always do, we partnered with many of you who's on this call today to help fill the variety of digital inclusion and transportation needs, all of the needs that come up when people are looking to improve their economic household needs. And what we found is, regardless of people's motivations or skills or resources in the community, there are these same barriers over and over and over that would prevent people from meeting their goals. And so this gave us the opportunity to build a coalition with so many experts in one room to build a plan. So our plan is to remove systemic barriers so that all Kansas Cityans can access quality job training and gain and sustain family sustaining wages, and really working towards ending poverty for families. So that is our goal and our purpose. The approach is we've got 13 community partners, including 10 program participants with lived experience, and those program participants are getting paid for their time and expertise, who have that lived experience of dealing with the systemic barriers. And we're working to create targeted strategies for systemic change. So our goal is really there's a list of key deliverables. I kind of call it creating a mini agency across many agencies and groups during a 10-month planning phase, that we're going to create a comprehensive implementation plan to take away those barriers. We're meeting monthly between now and the end of October. So we're looking forward to sharing what that plan is once it's all ready. So any questions here? And really, I'm kind of at the end of my presentation. So any questions overall, feel free to ask.
Excuse me, I might, if I could, Jessica. Good to see you. Hi.
Yeah, good to see you
John.
too.
Yeah. You teased out my digital health interests. And so I was thinking of kind of Phoenix Family's own technology enablement and the kind of technology you may be using. But starting first, I got a couple just quick questions.
Yeah,
One
sure.
is, at what time do you do a formal assessment of needs with the community person?
Yeah. So when folks move in, we do an assessment, several assessments. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. When people move in. And so for our senior communities, that looks like a couple different things. I mean, we collect demographics, of course. And then we do an activities of daily living assessment to
Okay.
see what areas they might need help with, and then offer connections and resources if they do need help in an area. And then we also have what's called a vial of life. And so what that really is our first responders know that we help people enroll in this program. And it's really to collect some basic, do you have these chronic diseases? Where do you keep your prescriptions? So that if the first responders ever arrive, our folks know to keep it in a little magnet on their fridge.
Right.
So there's first responders can act more quickly. Also, with that information, we can gather, how many people have issues with blood pressure, what are the chronic diseases we see the most, so that we can build programs around that. So we can have biometric screenings on site, help people really take control of their health care.
That's great. Are any of those assessment tools formalized, like from other places, or are they things that you've developed on your own?
A little bit of both. So the activities of daily living assessment is something that HUD requires, and so they have there's the American Association of Service Coordinators. They have a tool, and then we've kind of changed it to also make it more of a how you can easily make referrals or suggestions from it. So it's not just the assessment, but it's the action plan as well. So and then Vial of Life, we've kind of changed it over time as well to fit some needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I'm sorry I'm taking so much time, but this is just really,
fine.
really interesting to me. The other, then when you go to do referrals, are those kind of, do you have sort of a database of resources, and do you do those referrals electronically or by phone or email?
Yeah, what that looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just a couple of things. It depends on the location of that community. So, of course, most services are geographically based. So, but if they're here in the Kansas City areas, Meals on Wheels, working with Mark and Casey Shepherd Center, trying to get folks connected quickly. If it is somebody is interested in trying out a walker, trying to figure out what kind of, have they gotten one through Medicare before the public benefits that would help pay for that, and or, sometimes we have in our pantries, maybe somebody has a walker that, has been donated. So just a variety of different ways. But yes, we also have big resource lists, and we collaborate quite a bit across staff. Somebody needs something.
Right.
Who do I ask?
Right.
Yeah, good questions.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the next one is not really a question yet, but I'd love to speak to you sometime about it. I was very interested in the degree to which you're doing measurements for your work. I think that's very cool. And I hope sometime that you and I get a chance to discuss that. That would be great.
Yeah, we'll make a note here between
Thanks.
you and Mary Kay. We need some discussions. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
This is wonderful. Thank you so much, Jessica, for your presentation.
Of course.
Can I jump in real quick? Hi, Jessica. I'm Jerry Buckler with the city of Kansas City, Missouri. And I apologize if you covered this, but I was kind of doing a couple of things here at the same time while I was listening.
I get it.
Are the communities that you serve, are they housing authority managed communities?
Nope, they are privately owned, subsidized communities. And so it's they're, while some communities do accept vouchers, I think they actually all do. Really, the privately owned subsidized communities are where it's project based. So it's still Section 8, but the voucher stays with the apartment. So when people apply to live at the communities, they apply with that apartment community for an apartment, and that voucher stays with the apartment, not approved to move with the person. It's kind of how that works.
Okay.
Yeah, and we don't own or manage or lease up the communities. We contract with the owners.
Okay. Hey, that's good to know.
Good questions.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, this is wonderful. We could talk all day about Phoenix Family, right?
We could.
You guys do
And if
a
anybody
ton
wants
of work.
to, just let me know.
Yeah, Jessica, if you want to drop your email in the chat, then anyone can reach out to you. That would be great.
Absolutely. I'll do
And it's
that.
jwelch@phoenixfamily.org.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, let's keep on moving with the agenda. I know we need some time for our featured content. So I'd love to introduce our next presenter.
Hey, Leah.
It is, yeah.
Can we go ahead and squeeze JR in, so that he can bounce if he needs to?
Sure. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
All right.
We'll do quick state national updates. I know Dimitri Farthing, JR, is here from Missouri Office of Broadband Development. So JR, if you are available, we'd love to hear some updates from Missouri Office of Broadband.
Yeah, thank you all for having me. Pleasure as always to be here with you. Quicker updates than usual. I really don't have much to share at all. Continuing to work with NTIA to get final approval of our list of recommended projects. Happy to take any questions, though I can't guarantee I can answer anything, but that's really all I've got.
Great. Thank you, JR. And I know they have a community update meeting next Friday as well, if you want to hear some more in-depth announcements from them. Does anyone have any questions for JR? Okay. All right. Moving right along. Sorry to get you, Chris. Now it's your turn. I'd love to introduce Chris Admire, who is the Executive Director of the Veterans Community Project in Kansas City. He is going to present about the tiny homes that they have for their veterans. And just let me know when you want me to put this video up for you.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Leah. I appreciate that. Yeah, as she said, I'm Chris Admire with Veterans Community Project. Yeah, really, I kind of like to play the video first. It kind of goes in deep. You know, I don't have I'll talk a little bit of, a few minutes after the video, and I'll be glad to take any questions. So anytime you want to play that video, go right ahead.
All right, I'm going to play it. Someone tell me if you can hear it.
Okay. How many got? 5, 6.
I joined the military
No.
when I was 17. My mom had to sign a waiver.
My first assignment was Japan. I was the first female in the mechanic shop.
I was a crew chief on a helicopter.
I am a 12 Bravo combat engineer.
I went into the Air Force in security communication.
I was a regular Army. When I was in, I was 31 kilo.
I got discharged and in and out of jail, homeless, the majority of the time sleeping on people's couches.
For like 2 months, I'd been camping out down here off of the Little Blue River.
Went out down by the lake, and I housed myself up by the lake. Sure did, up in the woods.
There's no, military to civilian transition.
Nobody gets me. Mentally, I'm not able to transition home.
It's scary. I was scared.
Suicide and veteran homelessness is a problem in every major population center in this country.
Veterans sleep in city parks, city streets. There are neighbors. If you're in your car, a slumlord situation, you're couch surfing, you're living in a hotel, you're homeless, you just don't know it yet.
And all that time you wrapped up in the taking care of others and looking out for their needs and their selfless service to them and your loyalty to your leadership, you forget about yourself, and I did that.
On any given night, there are between 30 and 40,000 veterans that are sleeping on the streets.
They're literally on the street corner committing suicide, getting left behind. Nobody has their back.
22 veterans take their lives every day. What very few people know is that out of that 22, on average, 16 of them are not connected to any veteran-specific services of any kind.
I had a suicide attempt. During that time, I had a year to lay around and think about what I was doing and how I'm trying to give this gift back. So it really gave me focus in a really unique way to understand my purpose here, what I can bring to this world. And that's where I started going down the route of working with veterans.
This whole thing started with a bunch of combat veterans getting together and saving a bunch of lives in Kansas City.
Veterans Community Project is a transitional housing facility, right? It's not permanent. We want to bring people in, give them that support, get them back on their feet, and then find that long-term permanent housing solution.
What we are known for best and what works best is the tiny homes, our tiny house transitional living, which is, servicing the veterans who are most needed of housing stability at that time. For what is really amazing about the organization is our outreach component and all the wraparound services that we provide.
When they enter their home for the first day or really understand all the programming and support and case management we're going to put around them, it's usually a period of disbelief. Are you sure? Are you going to pull the carpet out from under me? What's the catch? What's the trick? Wait, I'm not paying rent. I have case managers here. What's the catch here? And it takes them a while to realize there isn't a catch. You took an oath to serve our country. This is what we owe you. We are here for you. We're going to do this. There is not a catch. After they settle into that, that's when you see them come out of their shell. That's when they start to be that person they were. That's when they start to get that dignity back, right? That's when they start to really find themselves again.
Caught the bus and came out here to VCP. They were very embracive, very unwelcoming, not judgmental. No questions asked. Helped me out with bus transportation, get myself situated and settled to be able to get mobilized some kind of better way than I was.
I was just floored, and it was very emotional for me. There was a lot of community and opportunity and education.
All it did was light that fire under me even more. Once I saw the reaction, once I saw the impact, Veterans Community Project can absolutely fix veteran homelessness. Most shelters, temporary living facilities, 20 to 25% of their population positively transitions through their program. That's a banner year for them. Since day one, VCP's been operating at 85% positive transition rate. Every single city in the United States has a need for this program, but it can't do it without money. It's somebody who is willing to open their checkbook and invest in this vision.
This is how you deliver these types of services. It is investing in people. It's sticking with them. It is such a central part of the Kansas City story.
What they've done is they set an example for other cities, and I'm really proud that it came out of Kansas City.
If you donate to Veterans Community Project, you're a part of this mission. You are now doing more than being thankful for veterans.
You're investing in a human life. You're investing in a human life that invested in you at one time.
All right, what a great kickoff to your presentation, Chris.
Yeah, and that was obviously played at one of our fundraisers, so that the ask part there isn't necessarily directed here, but it is one of the better videos that we've put together in the years that we've existed. But you heard from some of the co-founders. In the end, these guys they served their country. They came back. They saw some gaps in services really for those that they felt deserved better than what they were getting. And the cool thing about these guys is they didn't go around, they didn't blame anybody. They didn't wait around. They literally reached into their own pockets. They started something from absolutely nothing. And this was an idea in 2015, and now we're here, roughly 10 years later, and we've built these 49 tiny houses in Kansas City. Obviously, there's houses in 3 other cities throughout the country. We have broke ground in Glendale, Arizona as well. And hopefully sometime this year, we'll also break ground up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So it's really come from just an idea to a lot of hard work and coming up with some of the ideas and really trying things out and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work. And we're still doing that. We're still learning every day. But a little bit more about what we do in Kansas City. So obviously we have the transitional housing program in our village. So we have 49 tiny houses, a community center where all of our case managers office out of that location. But one of the things that kind of gets under recognized because it's not the sexy thing that the tiny houses are, is our outreach building. I office out of this outreach building, and this is where any veteran can walk in the door. It doesn't matter your length of service, your discharge status. If you have some sort of a barrier or you're looking to just improve your life as a veteran, you can walk in our door, and we're going to go to work on whatever barrier it is that you have, or that you're facing, and then you'll more than likely uncover some barriers as well. So a kind of a unique piece of our program is we don't take federal funding. I'll say that with a little bit of caveat to it. There is some federal funding that VCP takes, but our budget here in Kansas City, we have one grant that has any sort of federal tie to it. It's directly with the VA, and it focuses solely on veteran suicide. And one of the really intriguing things about one of our co-founders mentioned fixing veteran homelessness and fixing these problems is kind of changing some mindset, changing some like the definition of what a veteran you might think a veteran is, or really what homeless is. And for the first time, the VA engaged in a program where they don't necessarily look at discharge status. They don't look at VA connectivity. So if an individual walks in the door and we deem them a veteran, which means you rose your right hand, you provided us with a DD 214, which you get that whether you served 30 days or 30 years, we can do an assessment on those individuals and then connect them directly with the suicide program from the VA, and it's really making an impact. Hopefully, at some point, it's going to start making a noticeable impact on veteran suicide. But yeah, like a lot of other organizations here in Kansas City, we're all about collaboration with other partners. Obviously, it's a lot of veteran centered organizations right now. The VA is for sure one of them that we collaborate with. The Vietnam Veterans of America comes in weekly and does they bring in a VSO that helps people navigate their VA benefits. We're actually getting ready to open up an office to the VFW state group. They're actually going to bring a VSO here 5 days a week to help any veteran access their benefits and kind of understand what people qualify for. We also do street outreach. So our teams actually go out. Actually, they left this morning with a couple of people from the VA and us and a couple of other community partners. A couple of weeks ago, they found a Vietnam veteran that's been living on the streets for 3 weeks, for 3 years, and we just found him. And this is a guy that served 10 years through Vietnam, and he's never applied for one benefit. So, and he probably qualifies for full range of benefits. So we're working on getting this individual off the street and gaining benefits. Yeah, we kind of anytime we see something that's not really a fit for veterans out there, we try to find somebody and collaborate with those individuals, or we'll create our own type of a program. We did kind of create our own career support services program, which you might call workforce development, but this is specifically to veterans. We found this out. I think Jessica, you may have talked about people doing their resumes, and there's a struggle with you have to upload it, and now in the age of AI, it scrubs your resume, and if it's not really accurate, it's just going to spit it out. But also one of the good things about that is a lot of military, veterans, they put their military's speak on a resume, and the average person gets a hold of it. And I've talked to companies, they're like, I was like, you see a veteran, resume, what do you think? And they're like, it might as well be written in French because we don't know anything about it. And so part of what we do is we have volunteers that come in, and they're our career navigators, and they actually kind of turn that resume from a military, extract the skill sets that they developed in the military, and then put it into the resume. And then we kind of will scrub it ourselves with AI just to make sure that it's good and clean before they go out and start their search. But yeah, we have a commissary day once a month here, so the fourth Wednesday of every month. Any veteran can walk in the door. We help with food. It's a great volunteer activity for some of our community partners. They're actually personal shoppers. It's our houses are built with dignity, and we want to try to make these every interaction with the veterans that walk through our door uh, dignified, because we feel they deserve it. So our community partners will help people do be a personal shopper and walk through, and we have our pantry is just kind of lined out to where they can go hand pick everything. We also purchase some fresh fruits and vegetables to where the individuals have access to that, to where they can actually, eat a little bit healthy as well. Um, so yeah, so we have our outreach center kind of goes out into the community. People come to us. Referrals happen. There are some digital referrals. We're kind of struggling with some of that. It just seems like we haven't found the right referral system. I still say picking up the phone and calling each other and having really good relationships with other agencies is the best referral method, because I always try to tell the people, if we call and somebody sees it's us, pick up the phone, and they're going to pick up the phone. Um, we also have an alumni program. So after somebody transitions out of our housing program, they can take everything with them. So when they're going into a new place, they take everything, and then we have volunteers and staff flip the house, and it looks brand new. So everything's brand new when a veteran walks in, and then they can take it all with them on the backside. And we make the house look brand new again on the inside, and it's there for the next veteran to step into. And again, that's a dignified approach. They walk in, they see everything's brand new, they know it's all theirs, and there's a dignified approach to that. It's not broken down, used stuff that makes them feel deflated at all. And that was just kind of, I told the co-founders, I knew a couple of them prior to coming on board. And, when they told me about this, I said, I don't think you're all this smart, but this is a pretty brilliant idea. And I think this can go a long way to solving a lot of housing issues, which, I was on a panel on Sunday, and we were, in Lee Summit, they're talking about building some sort of affordable housing option, and it's out there, it's rampant, and I don't see it getting a whole lot better, and that's a frustrating thing to be in this world, and being a service provider and having something that just continues to be a problem. So that's kind of all I got. I'll open it up to questions. I'll be glad to answer any questions, or if anybody wants to come take a tour someday, just reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to walk you around the campus and show you firsthand.
Yeah, great work. Chris, I've been out. It's an amazing project. I'm curious about the transitioning of the vets out of your program. What things have to be in place for them to leave, and how do you make that happen?
Yeah, so we have some pillars that we focus on. They're written on I got a big whiteboard here. We focus a lot on education and training. We focus on a couple different components of income, stability, and basically understanding, fiscal understanding, health and well-being, and your network of support. And it's kind of like which came first, the chicken or the egg, which of those pillars, education and training, income stability, fiscal understanding, health and well-being, and network of support is the most important. And you could probably ask 8 different people here at VCP, and you'll get 8 really good answers of why they all have different components. But it's really, you know, getting the individuals in that right mindset that they want the help, they want to work for the help, they want to set goals. And really, you know, we kind of have it's a scoring system that we've kind of peeled off of some other programs, and we're still trying to tweak it and get them to, you know, get everybody to a certain level on their permanent housing readiness. It's kind of a score we get overall. But if they have the right education in place, they have the right income in place, and the right mindset, and you know, we get them on their way. And you know, one of the things that we started here about a year and a half ago, we wanted to, like, after somebody leaves the program, how do they maintain that, and how do we keep track of that? So we started what we call an alumni program. So we actually have a case manager that stays in contact with anybody that wants to stay in contact for up to twice as long as they've been in the program. So if somebody was a year in the program, we'll stay in touch with them for 2 years. They can always call us, but really it's, you know, everybody talks about meeting somebody where they're at. So usually when somebody walks in our door here and they're in need of our residential, you know, of our housing program, you know, they're down here, you know, they're here. When they leave, they're elevated here. So our goal is, if they leave and they're out, you know, on their own, and something happens and they start that swirl, we want to meet them there, so they don't drop all the way down. So our alumni case manager does a great job of staying in touch. And we actually just had somebody that transitioned out 3 years ago that lost his job the other day, and he knew exactly where to come. This is the cool thing. You heard Jason Kander talk about, you know, 70% of the veteran suicides are people that they don't know where to go. They don't have somewhere to turn to. And the fact that we can give somebody a place to go, and he knew exactly where to come, and he walked in the door and got immediately in touch with our career navigator. And we're already working on, you know, 2 days after losing his job, you know, we're already working on his next job and his next career. But we won't let him go down. So he's way up here still. We're not going to let him go down.
Thanks, Chris. Can you put your email in the chat too, please?
Will do.
Great.
So Chris, everybody who knows me knows I love dogs, and I saw a lot of dogs in your video. Having pets is a big barrier to finding temporary shelter. The shelters for people who are unhoused usually don't take pets. So I was curious if you could talk about that policy and how you came about it.
Yeah. Vinny, the bald guy that said he went out in the streets and started talking to veterans, you know, when he connected with the other co-founders, you know, they're like, how are we even going to start? And Vinny was just like, let's go talk to the experts on the street. So you know, the co-founders just jumped in the truck with some food bags and, you know, cases of water and things like that, and just started going and sitting with the veterans in the streets and saying, we're thinking about building something. What's if we build something, you know, why are you on the streets? And if we built something, what would you have to, what are have to haves? And it was a resounding, you know, voice from the street was, let's bring our pets. And so they said, okay. So we're pet friendly inside our community center in our village. We actually have 2 rooms dedicated to pets. We have a pet wash station. We also have just a vet room where we have a great partner. Again, we reached out to Blue Springs Animal Shelter. They come out once a month, and they kind of take care of all the pets in the village. And if somebody brings in, you know, we kind of limit it to 2. because we feel if you have some sort of a service animal or something, you can have a second pet. Having 3, 4, 5 pets that's a little bit over the barrier, because these are tiny houses. So if we also want to make sure that these pets are leash trained. So again, that's where our community partners will come in and help us. We're not pet experts. We're not going to reinvent that wheel. We don't train pets, but we will absolutely connect with another agency to help get those pets to where they will do that. And yeah, you're absolutely right. We even have an off-leash pet run down on the south side of our village, where they can, let them off the leash and let them run inside of a fenced area, and they have little acrobatic things that the dog, and I don't know, acrobatic is the right word, little structures for the dogs to run up and down. It's kind of cool to see the pets out there running around, and they're members of our family, just like just like the veterans that come into our housing program. So yeah, and it's even a policy that we have in our workplace, so staff can bring their pets too. Same rules apply. Gotta be trained and gotta kind of keep them around. But yeah, I have my door shut now, but usually there's if I'm eat breakfast or something, or lunch at my desk, there's always a dog like poking its head around the corner like, hey, you got any scraps for me? So yeah, that's a big part of our program for sure.
And then I know we attended an event there that Essential Families hosted, and so I was wondering if you and I guess they left, but maybe you could just talk about the digital skills classes that they were hosting.
Yeah, they actually brought out, I believe it was their 500th computer they were giving away. I think there was 2 or 3 of our residents and 2 or 3 veterans from that came through our outreach center that attended that. And they made sure that it was one of our residents that got the 500th computer. But yeah, they had a full workshop that they brought in and kind of taught how to use these computers. And we do a lot of that. I think it's been a bit, but I know Goodwill has brought their van out as well and done the same thing, done some skills, literacy skills training out here. The vet center also comes out. They bring their mobile unit out as well. And in our outreach center, we have a computer station set up, so anybody that comes in the door, they can gain access to that computer as well. We actually have a kind of a literacy room in our community center down in the village as well. But everybody has internet access. It's definitely something that we've learned in expanding into other cities, is that they hardwire internet into all the houses now. We did not do that here early enough, and we can't seem to get it done without having to pay a fortune to get the wires run to it. So definitely a thing that we learned about, making sure that the houses had access to that. But yeah, we also have some financial programs that people come in and they teach, online banking and those types of things as well. We have First Federal, we have several banking partners that love to come in, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. In 1 week you have like Community America Credit Union come out, you have First Federal Bank, and you have UMB. We have 3 or 4 different banking partners come in, but they don't see they're not competing for our business. They're just competing to help the veterans in the best way that we can. So yeah.
Well, that was the question that I had, which was like, some partnerships for digital literacy and internet. Are you trying to work on putting internet in all the homes, like running wires there at some point?
Yeah, the hardwire thing, I've had so many people out here that said they could help, and then they're like, well, so we have a Wi-Fi mesh network now, and we actually have what we did kind of for our long-term solution is there's an antenna, for all better, with lack of better term, there's an antenna that sticks off the side of the house, and it runs the signal to the inside of the house, and then there's a repeater in the house, and that helps broadcast the signal in. When we first put the mesh network together, veteran, you know, we thought, okay, we got internet down here, it's all great. And then certain veterans would come in, they're like, wait, I can't get it inside my house. So we built a mock-up house, and you could literally put your phone in and you would lose signal, you pull it out, because we have continuous insulation siding or insulation that has that little thin layer of aluminum on the outside of it, and then concrete fiber siding. And for whatever reason, the internet signal would just not get through the walls very good. So we had to kind of make a shift. But maybe one of these days we'll get somebody to come out that'll bore holes all over. But after they put all the services in here, there's so many wires and pipes underground here. It's going to be kind of hard. But other sites, they're learning from from my heartache, that's for sure.
There you go. Yeah, that's great. I guess just a good wrap-up question is like, what is one thing that you learned that was kind of sort of an essential learning piece for you in getting involved in this?
Gosh, it sort of sounds it's the network of support. I guess I've always taken that for granted. I didn't realize, and I don't know if people realize how critical it is, especially in the veteran world, to have people around you that support and trust you. And you see it with individuals, and I don't think the co-founders saw it coming either. This, you know, when they moved the first 13 in, they just thought, you know, they were thinking about, man, it's going to be really difficult bringing volunteers in to help build the rest of these houses, because these people are going to want to be kind of quiet and all this. But as we started bringing, you know, groups of, you know, 25 and 50 and 100 that are down there working, you got people, and this is like somebody coming into your neighborhood, right? And building, you know, and making noise and doing all this stuff. But what we found was quite the opposite, that these individuals would come out of their houses and go up to volunteers and say, thank you. This shows me that you care about me. And the fact that you're building these other houses, it shows that you care about the other veterans that haven't found this place yet. And it was really kind of eye-opening to see. And then they come to me. I was operations at the time, and they're like, hey, we want a place to gather, you know, because we have tiny houses and we have the little porch that's, you know, 3 foot by 3 foot. And like, we want somewhere we can kind of hang out and kind of just fellowship and be veterans. And we built a little 10 by 10 smoke shack, and they put a table on it, and they're out there playing cards and just sitting around and hanging out. And then they asked for a grill, and so I put a grill out there, and then they would go, you know, grill hamburgers together. And just that social aspect of, you know, I often tell people, I was like, imagine the worst day of your life and then living that day after day after day after day, and you have nobody that you can talk to about it, nobody that you trust to help you. And I think for me, I always lean into that network of support piece, because that's super critical.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Chris.
Absolutely.
Does anyone have any other questions for Chris? I think this is great. And check out their website as well. I posted that in the chat, but they got a lot of good stuff. And congratulations on the new sites. That'll be super exciting.
Yeah, we're excited about that. We're actually getting ready to build a new building on this site here. So our outreach center it'll be kind of the new front door for veterans walking in, and then the building that we're in now, this will be open for any community partner that doesn't have the bricks and mortar that serve that have you know, can serve veterans and help them overcome their, you know, their barriers, and that's what this building is going to become. So hopefully have a, you know, a day where there's 8 to 10 different service providers all in one spot for veterans to come. So yeah, appreciate it.
I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you, Chris. I'm sure we'll keep in tabs on your efforts. It's really exciting. Okay, well, I think I'm going to pass it to Leslie. We just have some community announcements time. So if anyone has any community announcements, Leslie will facilitate that.
Yes. Anyone have anything exciting going on, or anything they want to highlight or surface for the group?
We've got our Career Fest coming up. I've sent it along to Jessica and to Chris. If anyone else is interested in that, let me know. It's on April the 11th. It's downtown in the Goodwill building. And we're going to have opportunities for on-the-spot job interviews, training opportunities, further education, colleges, scholarships. They're going to do headshots for people who need a professional photograph, and a closet for clothing to use to go to interviews and for starting out jobs. So it's going to be quite a day. It happens once a year. Each year it grows bigger and bigger. So we'd love to see all of you as well as your clients. Thanks.
What else is happening? Ron, you have any events coming up?
Our next Digital Scene KC event is going to be at Avant Food Media. It's going to be in May, but a date hasn't been set yet. And we also are planning a career fair for digital media academy programs like CAPS and Summit Tech Academy on October 7th. Those are kind of the main things we're working on right now.
October 7th during Digital Inclusion Week.
Yes.
Very cool. All right. Anything else happening in the ecosystem? I do want to just say one quick thing, which is just personally, I am sorry to see what's happening in some of our refugee serving organizations here locally. And so just thinking of Catholic Charities and JVS and Della Lamb, you know, all the folks who have had to lay off staff. It's a hard time for them. So if you're partnering with them or engaging with them in any way, just keep that in mind, I guess. Okay. Yeah. Leah, you want to talk about the computer repair events?
Yeah, so with KC Digital Drive's partnership with Perscolis, we're continuing to provide community repair events on the first Monday of every month from 4 to 6 p.m. Our LAMP campus is at Linwood and Highway 71, the old church building most of you are familiar with. But send your people if their computers are not working for whatever reason. Perscolis alumni, students, Perscolis teaches IT training, so their students come out and get some hands-on experience helping folks with their device needs, and even just they can provide us some, you know, training if someone's like, I don't understand how to do this, then they can do that as well. But first Mondays of the month from 4 to 6 p.m.
Okay, great. Well, so our next meeting is going to be April 4th, and the topic is economic and workforce development. So that will be, as always, virtual, and we hope to see you all then. And I guess we'll give you 12 minutes back in your day. Woohoo! All right. Thanks everyone for being here.
Thanks, y'all. Happy Friday.